This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
You're listening to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
We say hello to our friends at 94.7 KZND. Good morning, Alaska's Rock Alternative in Loveland, Anchorage, Alaska. Also in Portland, the Classic Rock 92.3 KGON. Listeners there jumping on, as well as WCMF 96.5 Rochester's Classic Rock Station. Big show for you today. The return of Ted versus the FCC. We have a very special announcement concerning Men's Room Red Festival coming up, and of course bad jokes right before we drink and toast with the shot of the day. And today we're talking about things that smell. Our question: what was the one smell that you will never forget? 844-999-OLA.
Miles, your name dropping stations, right? 97.3 The Machine in San Diego.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We go there now. Hello,
Talking
Matt. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hey, hola.
Hola.
What's that, Matt?
All right, so my kid had an adenoidectomy. It's where they take your adenoids out.
What are? I don't know what those are.
It's kind of like, I guess, like the testicles of the throat. I'm not exactly sure.
So what, like your tonsils?
Yeah, they're kind of like their tonsils. I'm not exactly sure, but they had the ear tubes. That had something to do with that. You had to take them out. Anyway, the smell is overwhelming. It's almost horrible. It's awful.
Is it smell like plaque? I mean, was this before this had to happen, or is this after the fact?
It smells like just poop. I don't know what exactly.
But did it affect his?
Attacking.
Did it affect his breath too? So another your kid opens his mouth, say "Good morning, Dad," and you're like, "Oh my God, you had a turd," or is it after they remove it?
No, it's after they take it out, and then it's the leftover residual garbage that's left in there.
Okay. So did that include his breath for a while?
Yeah, that's his breath. So he's 3 years old, and he was sick last night, so he crawled into bed with me, and that's what woke me up, was that shot of dragon breath.
So that's why. Is that why you took him to the doctor? Just based on the smell of the breath, you realized that was not normal?
No, it's because he had to get that because he had to get ear tubes. Something to do with that. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
But it's because of that, that's why his breath smells. It's like the bacteria helping to fix it. I don't know.
Because you know that one person that you wake up beside, man, and you've been with them before, and their breath is just from another planet. Like you could not fart as bad as their mouth smells.
Yeah, and
and you don't want to say anything too much because you're just like but it's brush teeth, but other than that,
but morning breath you cut a little slack just because it's the morning. When it's like 3 in the afternoon, you're like, man, how is this still a thing? You know what I mean? Like we've gone to lunch together. Maybe I even saw you in the bathroom brushing your teeth. Like nothing works.
I smoked cigarette after cigarette, and I'm 100% confident that even if I threw up, smoked 5 packs of cigarettes, 8 bulbs of garlic, that my breath would not smell that bad at that particular moment.
But part of the reason is, and I think you'll agree, it could be cigarettes and bulbs of garlic, and you puke, and it smells awful, but it will smell like cigarettes and bulbs of garlic. So your brain can make sense of what it is. Mm-hmm. Like with the morning breath, there is no food that I can think of that could explain why your breath is the way it is.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know you can't smoke enough crack, you can't smoke enough PCP. Like, I don't understand what happens in the morning. At that point, there is no food that makes this happen.
No,
it's just nuts.
It's like going to the dentist and they start cleaning that plaque out of your mouth.
It's terrible.
And you feel bad for the dental hygienist who's doing the job because you realize that is the smell that's coming out of your mouth, and it's just absolutely awful.
But they volunteered to take that job. I mean, think about that job.
But it's just the worst smell in the world, and you cannot believe that's coming out of your mouth. Because, I floss, I brush, I do all that.
Not that well.
No, obviously not. Because it smells like a garbage pail when they start cleaning. I'm like, I want to apologize. I'm so sorry.
And if you're like most people, the last thing you did before you went to see the dentist was brush your teeth, pull out your little toothpick thing. And they still find, when's the last time you had chicken? And you're like, oh, my God, it was in December.
I just pulled out a thigh between your molar and your incisor. What was the one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Cheyenne. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
So, while I was waiting, I thought of 2, which I will make quick. First of all, the first one is... I was married once upon a time, and my partner my spouse was an animal lover, and her and the pug that we had farted at the exact same time. And I don't know how much any of you know about pug gas, but it could be used as a biological weapon, I swear to God.
Okay.
Well, based on their face alone, their farts should smell. They look like a grumpy old man.
Right. Okay, and then the second one was this. I had some roommates in Portland a couple of years ago who, as a prank, brought home this fruit called durian. It's like a Japanese thing, and decided to open it at the table and start playing around with it. And for some reason, it smells exactly like a dead body.
Oh, that's not
It
good.
was the worst thing. Go ahead.
Is this an edible fruit that people actively want to eat?
Apparently, in some countries, yes. I've seen it on different cooking shows and stuff like that.
Interesting.
But it smells like a decomposing body.
Yes, and they have to, when it gets in certain places, I'm told they have to bring in special cleaning equipment to get rid of it and that kind of thing.
You know, the only food that I've ever had, and I have had experience smelling this before, where they sent a kid home in 4th or 5th grade.
Oh, yeah.
Because of ramps. Mm-hmm. And ramps were very popular in West Virginia and related to the onion, but they taste very good, believe it or not. And
They're delicious.
I'm sure some hipster places will have them on the menu every once in a while.
It's crazy. You're the first person I ever heard bring them up.
But
I cooked with them once as a special, but the thing the chef told us, because I'd heard of them but unfamiliar, and he said, look, tomorrow's menu, we're going to do ramps. I'm like, all right, that's cool, great, whatever. And he said, listen, and same thing you're saying, Miles, related to the onion. Okay, no problem. He said, all of you, I'm telling you now, bring a second chef's coat and wear gloves. Like, how bad can it be? And then we found out it's not even that they smell bad exactly.
It doesn't go away.
Right.
So, and then when you eat them, it permeates your skin and your body to where, you ever notice that sometimes when people get garlic fries at the baseball game, they still might smell like garlic fries for about the next 12, 14 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you wake up next to a garlic.
Yeah, ramps are the same way, but it lasts for 2 or 3 days. And the more that you do it, and when they're in season, it starts to get warm. So when you sweat, it comes out of your body. And when you're a kid and you sweat and you're going through that stage of just, you know what I mean?
Or is it puberty or whatever?
You need to leave. Seriously, this is a hot-ass classroom. The windows are open. You smell so bad, you're a distraction. You have to go home. And it's just because you ate ramps. And they had a ramp festival. So every year you would go and just eat ramp food. I don't know what they call it now, rockin' ramp. You know what I mean? There'd be a band and ramps, you know what I mean? But it would be
Ramp Camp.
Ramp Camp 2012.
Didn't you say, as far as smells go, certain people have smell. You said you dated a chick, you said she was a swimmer, but she smelled like chlorine and vodka?
And vodka.
But specifically, those two smells
But look,
all
if
the
you
time.
swim, man, you're just always going to smell like bleach.
Sure.
And there's nothing you can do about it because you're in the pool every morning and every evening.
How much
every
vodka
afternoon.
did she drink?
Well, we drank a lot, but
But she smelled
But
like
the pool
vodka.
does weird stuff. I had a buddy that was a college swimmer, and he got kidney stones.
Damn.
Yeah, and it had something to do with being in the pool that much, and then also he told me they don't realize how dehydrated you're getting because you're in water.
Right.
No, there's all kinds.
It's weird.
It does a lot of weird things to the skin, and your hair becomes really brittle sometimes.
Well, sure, all the chemicals.
Yeah, exactly. So it was, I don't know.
But vodka and chlorine.
But it smelled like bleach. You know what I mean? It was almost like feta and bleach. I can't even describe it in vodka.
Do you ever think about it when you're doing laundry? That brings back Sheila.
No.
Clorox.
That is another one that doesn't smell the best, but it tastes damn good.
Well, some people...
It tastes like salt and somehow, I'm going to eat this. The consistency's fine. It tastes like salt, but you're right. It smells like old feet.
You think... But you guys don't think... Okay, I have heard this come from 2 different people in my lifetime who I actually... thought were very attractive and were very interested. Never dated either one of them.
I smell like Cheetos, Miles.
But no, I was talking to
Is that a deal
talking
breaker?
to somebody who was a friend of mine for a number of years, and she finally went out with this guy that I knew, who was a good dude. He ended up being a very well off, successful at a law firm, all that stuff, and he's that guy that has that look. And I was like, didn't you date what's his face? And we were talking about that. She's like, yeah, man, I just couldn't do it. I was like, well, what was it about him? She's like, I could not stand the way he smelled.
And
I'm like,
smell like?
And I'm like, and that's what I said. I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, he just had this smell about him that was not attractive. And I'm like, well, was it a cologne
butt,
or a soap?
armpit?
No, it was just his smell.
Just the way he smelled.
Just the way he smelled.
I love you just the way you smell.
And I think, pheromones, I think, are pretty powerful that way. You're attracted to sometimes by people just by the way they smell.
But I
once you
don't
get close to
recognize that they smell. That's
right.
That's more on the physiological, not baby, you smell nice.
But don't you know the smell of a person?
You do.
Yeah, you do.
Right?
Totally.
Sometimes,
You
I've
do.
dated people, and then, somebody else will come by. I don't know if it's the shampoo
Right.
or what, and you'll go, oh, man, that smells like, what's the name?
Like, if you give him a hug, or you smell the pillow.
It's not a bad smell.
No.
And then there's other times where you're like, oh, God. It's like back to, like, and then you know what I mean?
But I mean, look, you meet people that smell bad, but you can identify why. Like, he peed his pants 3 days ago.
I'm not talking about.
But I mean, like, I've rarely met someone I'm like, just there's nothing wrong with you, but my nose picks up that you smell like ass to me,
just
for whatever reason.
Right. I don't think I don't think I really care that much if I'm that deep into it, but
you care. But you're deep into it because it's new and you're getting laid.
If
that goes away, then you're like, I'm tired of your stinky ass.
I'm just talking about like the smell of your neck or your head, not necessarily. I'm not trying to be dirty or anything. I'm saying your smell is not a good smell.
Yeah,
and I
mean, it happens,
and it's probably not a bad smell for somebody else. It's just not the right smell for you. I don't know why the hell I'm bringing this up. It
depends on your trash.
Do you ever change up your smell?
How do you change up your natural smell?
Well, I'm just saying in general.
I mean, I can switch up my soap or something like that.
Sure. Right? Yeah. Sometimes I catch myself off guard. Bought the wrong deodorant. I was like, God damn, Ted, you smelling good.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to switch to this brand.
It's a different scent.
That's why I like Irish Spring, dog. I don't know what it is. It works with me.
What was the one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA.
Well, you would use other people to, man, you smell nice. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with me. Stick with the Irish Spring. Right?
I know. When people say that to me once in a while. It's been a while, but it's like, I use peppermint soap.
Oh, the Dr. Brahmers.
That's all, yeah.
That's like cheating, though. This smells like candy. If I bathe with Snickers, people are like, dude, I don't know what it is. You smell great. But like, oh, it's Snickers.
Mm-hmm. 2 things people know about Ted Smith. He smells like peppermint. He's got great eyebrows.
How does that do with your boys down there, man?
Well, I bring up the eyebrows because that peppermint soap, you got to be careful.
You do. That's why.
If you get it in your eyebrow, it's kind of stingy. But I like the peppermint underneath. It gives me what I call the tingles.
Dr. Brahmers, giving you the tingles since 1875.
You might not be clean, but your testicles feel fine.
Segment brought to you by Dr. Brahmers. What is that? It's oil soap, isn't it? I think it is oil soap.
I don't know.
What was the one?
Yeah,
just
I don't know. I don't care.
Just like leathering up a baseball glove. What was the one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA. More of your calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitches. You're listening to the Men's Room.
A very special announcement concerning Men's Room Red Festival is coming up after we do emails on our question, what was the one smell that you will never forget? 844-999-OLA.
A couple of comments rolling in as far as the one smell that you'll never forget. Says, I used to get these really awful farts. I blamed them on the dog. They were so awful, my family got rid of the dog. We continue. Yeah. Bye, Sparky. Pet Solutions. Call Ted.
Yes.
My kid pooped in a Ziploc bag and put it in the closet. I swear it was in there for a month, and the smell was horrendous. It was moldy and smushy.
Why would your kid poop in a Ziploc bag, man?
Because they're a kid, man, and they do things like that.
Have you ever had to leave get a stool sample for a doctor or whatever?
Yep.
Like, that's weird.
It's really weird.
Like, put it in the cup?
No, you poop on like a piece of
like a big what do you call it?
Piece of tissue or something like that you put in there. It's really.
No, I had a.
It's weird, man. It's
weird. Like you pooped, but you used a like a big wide popsicle stick.
Yeah, and then you put that in the thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, I don't want to be doing this.
You don't want to I don't know. Makes you not want to eat pudding for a while.
I mean, well, even when you pick up after your dog, man, you got this right, and it's like. It's this very warm pile of ass. This long. I mean, there's no way to. The one thing my dog did, it pissed me off, right? So you pick up after your dog, it's fine. You try to get used to it, but you always have a hand warmer every time you grab it, and it's a bit disturbing. And I cannot explain why my dog did this, but my dog took a dump directly on top of another dog's dump that someone didn't clean up. But that poop had been there for like 2 days, so it was room temperature, for lack of a better term, and all hard. So as I'm but I couldn't just grab my dog's poop because that looks bad. It's in bad form, right? So I'm like, I now have to pick up 2 piles of ass. I don't even want to pick up one of them, but it was, I don't know, the sensation of being very warm and smushy, right? Normal poop up top. And then it goes from that almost like a pie crust on the bottom, like someone was serving meringue.
It's like the McDLT, the hot stays hot, the cool stays cool.
Cool stays cool, sure. And it was very uncomfortable.
What was the one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Jamie. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola.
Hola.
So, my little brother went to the Dollar Tree and managed to find fart bombs.
That's the kind of thing you'll find at the Dollar Tree.
I guess they're $1.
And he came home and threw one in my room and held the door shut.
How old was he when he did this? And please say 19.
He was probably like 14 at the time, and I was 16.
Okay.
So it was not a good situation all around.
Probably smelled like sulfur.
I was like gagging, and it was bad.
How long
and we ended up having to open up the whole house.
Yeah, so what is your parents' reaction after his little gag on his sister?
So I was outside, like, gagging, like, still, because it was in my hair and on my clothes and just sticking to everything. And my mom was like, "You're overreacting, knock it off," and got mad at me.
Okay.
I was like, okay, Mom.
That sounds about right on the parent tip.
How long did your bedroom smell like a fart after that?
About 2 days after a lot of Febreze and candles.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ooh, you know what? This gave me an idea. The ultimate prank, man. I'm going to take someone's Febreze and, like, replace it with sulfur water.
Did you guys live anywhere where there were certain areas that it just stunk?
What, you mean in the house itself?
No, just in general, like in the vicinity of where you lived at any given point in time. Like,
oh, sure.
Like
yeah.
I remember distinctly driving where my grandparents used to live. There was a road that went by a Union Carbide plant in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And there's only 2 Union Carbide plants in the world. One is in India, one is in West Virginia. There's good reason for that. They couldn't get permits anywhere. Antarctica. No, you couldn't get a permit to build this plant anywhere else in the world except for these 2 places. They are making pretty ridiculous chemicals. All right. So the smell of the plant, though, you can smell it from miles and miles away. And it's like, when you're driving through that skunk smell, but you can see the orange glow of the lights because the air around this plant is just this orange kind of Mars-looking environment.
How far away from it did you live?
Well, I didn't live close to it. My grandparents lived close to it.
Right,
I mean, I guess when I was born, I lived closer to it. But
that explains so much.
And I'm telling you what, if you look at the numbers of kids that are born with, I mean, you name it, man. If it's not good, they've got it.
Just say it. It's not inbreeding. It's Union Carbide.
It's a lot.
West Virginia story.
It's a lot of the water. I mean, you shouldn't be drinking that water.
No.
I mean, no matter what, you shouldn't be breathing the air. You shouldn't even live close to there. When we lived in Baltimore, there was a certain area of Baltimore where it had this stink to it, and it was an industrial area, and there was like the highest rate.
Dundalk? Dundalk, yeah.
Well, like Essex area, the highest rate of people like born with like just severe birth defects and all kinds of problems.
I had some family that lived over there.
Everybody from there looks like it.
Well, no, like I remember when they bought their house in Pasadena.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They were like, "Yeah, you got to see their house. It's really nice."
It's right on the water.
Thank you. And then I remember even as a child when I went, being like, "Mom, like, what are those stacks with like all the smoke coming out?"
Right, exactly.
It's like, well, that's part of the reason this nice home is so affordable on the water.
That's why Tina's got 12 fingers.
It's where they dump the chromium.
Exactly.
I mean, they got the house, but look at that view. The water even glows at night.
Tina's got a hen going out of her stomach.
But see, that's the thing about this one particular area. They say, like, it leads the nation in children born with birth defects. And I know this sounds harsh, but honest to God, Miles, you're the first person who told that to you. You showed me the story, and it's like, it was an aha moment. Because if you visit this part of the city, there's something wrong with everyone. You know what I mean? Their eyes are too far apart, or they're too aggressive, or their forehead is the size of a billboard.
Right, yeah.
Or the receding hairline starts on the side. You know what I mean? Like, or there's just something you have 2 ears, but they're both on your neck.
They speak in a language that only they understand.
Only they do. They have big gums and small teeth.
In Baltimore, like, not everybody in Baltimore talks that way.
No.
It's only certain sections.
Yes.
And literally, they're on the other side of the beltway.
Right.
But they're next to the chromium.
They are.
And that explains every single thing.
Yeah.
They're mutants. I mean, it's that easy, man.
It's like they use Scott's like lawn fertilizer to put like cheese for their pizza, spaghetti.
They are where the X-Men began.
Well, I will say though, the worst part is it is beautiful.
It's
gorgeous.
It
right
is.
on the water. If you look to the right, it's great. You look to the left, you see why your people are deformed.
You see the Grim Reaper sitting there giggling.
Okay, just to give you an idea, if you were to happen to, people eat the food that comes out of that water. If you as a human being were to accidentally, put your hand down into that water, God forbid you fell into that water, you basically have to go to like a detox center, man, and they gotta hose you off in a room by yourself.
I mean, there's signs everywhere. Like if you, and I also got like
dead serious.
Don't touch the water. They don't even go like swam or die. They're like, don't touch.
You can't touch it.
But
even if you get a fish, you gotta have a rubber glove on.
But then you can grill that fish up, and
then you can eat it. Oh, so delicious. What was the one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Chad. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, hola.
Hola.
All right, so my story is I work at a friendly local game store in my area, and let me tell you, we have our fair share of smells, BO, etc. So one night, we're walking around the store, and there's this massive smell, and we can't figure out, what's going on. We're playing card games everywhere, so we're thinking one of our patrons, maybe hasn't showered. This continues for so long. Finally, we just ask everybody, we're like, all right, where is this smell coming from? One of our players goes into his bag and pulls out rotting chicken.
Why? Why did he know that he had
it just smelled so bad. Everyone is starting to gag. We had to open up all the doors.
Wait.
It stayed in the store for at least a couple of days.
But he knew that he had rotting chicken in his bag.
Yeah, he brought out this whole bag, like a Ziploc bag of chicken.
Did he explain?
And it just stank so bad.
Did he explain why he had it?
He worked at a restaurant, and I guess they were throwing out food, and he took it with him.
Oh, man. You don't want to eat that.
He couldn't figure out why a restaurant was throwing out food.
Man, I'll tell you what, and I know you don't have a problem with a value sale on a rainbow piece of beef.
No.
But
as long as you cook it that night, man.
I think chicken crosses the line. I think you got to be very, very careful. You got to get that thing home and throw it on the grill immediately.
Yeah, but chicken gives you one big clue, right? So the beef in the right, it's like finding glitter on the carpet. You go, hey man, I think I just saw the rainbow sheen. Mm-hmm. So but you kind of understand. Chicken, once it's bad, it smells so bad. There's no way to convince yourself that it's okay. Beef. You can convince yourself it's okay. You probably will, but and keep in mind, the grocery store manager is still willing to sell it to you because I don't think it's going to kill you. They don't put up, manager stinky chicken. If it stings, don't eat it, man.
No.
Yeah, chicken's much easier to tell.
It's much
and chicken
much
is just so foul. No pun intended.
Oh wow!
Not that I would ever have done this, but say you boiled some chicken for chicken salad. And then maybe left your house, you took the chicken out and everything, but maybe you left the water there and left your house for a festival for 4 or 5 days.
Oh!
Yeah. I didn't even think about it.
Oh.
I got home and I was like, what is that smell? It's the chicken water.
How bad was it when you moved it?
Made soup with it.
Oh, it was awful.
It's called a stock. It's butt stock.
You left for a festival for 4 days with chicken water on the stove?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That had to be able to wake up. At least you didn't smell as bad as you thought when you got home. You know what I mean? Even if you did, it wasn't nearly as bad as that.
No, but people were helping me carry a cooler in, and we opened my front door. It was just oh, God.
Ted, did you kill somebody?
Right.
What was the one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Blake. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, so my story is in 2003, I was in the Army, deployed to Iraq during the first invasion or occupation, whatever you want to call it. And I was in the turret on top of the Humvee, driving through the city of Baghdad. And at the time, obviously, they didn't have, garbage men, and they didn't have any infrastructure, so everybody just dumped their trash in the streets. So I went down an alleyway, and, people dumping their trash in the streets, and some rain and the mud and all kind of collect with everything else, and the dirt and the sand and everything. And I have a pretty strong stomach. I can take a lot of nasty smells, but we went down this alleyway, and I immediately just started, hurling in my mouth and being on the top of the truck and telling them, get the hell out of there, because I just about to hurl all over the place.
What was the smell? Was it just, did it smell like rotting flesh, or was it just trash and sewage?
Well, yeah, because the other story I had was, about the dead body, and that was pretty bad, but this was it was worse. I don't know, it was insane.
You're telling me the smell of the trash was worse than the smell of a dead body?
Yeah.
You know, they should you should be like a talking head for a recruiting video. You know what I mean? Every once in a while, I get the whole real cool commercials. You know what I mean? Where you're in a Black Hawk helicopter and all that stuff. And you ever smell mud and trash and Baghdad in an alley and throw up in your mouth?
Here's your chance.
You want to go to college?
Yeah. How long were you there?
It was a year deployment, two different times, but both times were a year.
And what is the hottest temperature that you had to endure at any point?
Oh man, it was. I want to say close to 100. It was 120s easily. I remember one mission just being so drenched in sweat that when we got back, my whole entire uniform was just wet from sweat. Like I jumped out.
I was going to say, do you have any fat left on your body by the time you're done with this? I just assume it all melts away.
No, yeah, I mean, when you're deployed, there's not much else to do other than kind of, work out and stuff like that. So, yeah, I did lose a lot of weight at the time.
You think some of the trouble in the Middle East might be the fact that everybody's hot? I mean, like when you put a lot of hot people together, bad things happen.
Oh, yeah.
When you are that hot, people are just
angry. Hot weekend in the summer in Baltimore, the number of murders that happen are basically just related to people being irritated.
I mean, hell,
because it's so hot.
It happens everywhere.
Right, and they put out warnings like, hey, man, we're going to have rolling brownouts, and it's going to be really hot. Yeah. Try not to kill each other.
Yeah. There's a snowstorm. Yeah. You're locked in for a week at a time.
You make babies.
Nobody dies. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
People have sex. They make babies. They get drunk. They party with their neighbors. If it's hot.
They get along.
Right.
What was the one smell that you'll never forget?
I mean, honestly, think about your friends. Like, you spend a week with them, in a nice cabin in the fall. Well, that's one thing. Spend a week with them in
a hot summer camping. Right. Hey, shut up, Dave! Right. Everybody's heard that story.
I mean, I can tell you even just waking up in a parking lot the night after a concert, just like are these guys ever going to get the F up?
Yeah,
I might
you're
just
right,
go
man.
shake their tent.
Come on, man.
Get up.
Hello, Jared. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, how's it going?
Hola. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. So, just like your last caller, I experienced a similar situation like that when I was in Iraq. But my worst smell came when I was in Afghanistan, and that was the smell of a dead body that had been left in a body bag for 3 days out in the middle of the sun, and then we had to open it up and show it to some Afghan officials.
Why did they have to see inside?
Because of who the guy might have been.
Ah, okay.
Was it who they thought it was, or how could you even tell at that point?
I don't know. They are able to identify their people better.
After 3 days in a body bag in the sun?
Yeah.
Then you're an ugly son of a bitch to begin with. I'm going to say right now, if you've been rotting for 3 days in the sun and a body bag, and I'm like, oh, it's Miles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it smelled like if you took an old rusty bucket, you filled it full of rotten teriyaki meat, old milk, cat pee, curry, and cheap cologne.
It's very specific.
You've thought of this. You've thought long and hard of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the worst smell I've ever smelled, and I've been on hold for 35 minutes, so I had time to think
tell
about
us.
it.
Yeah,
sorry, we have to relive that, man.
Yes, exactly.
It's all right.
I just like the fact that cheap cologne is part of it.
Cheap cologne.
All of that.
And Axe body spray.
Your cologne is so strong that in spite of all of those other smells, I can still smell your cologne.
I think he said rotten teriyaki.
No.
Teriyaki's generally not the fanciest piece of the chicken.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
When you ever burp up teriyaki, does it?
Where have all the teriyaki places gone? What was the one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Angela. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
Hey, Robin.
Robinson?
She doesn't talk to other women. She's like that.
Hello.
Real snooty.
Whatever. So, story goes, this is a secondhand story. A friend of mine was a medical examiner in a large city. Some tenants in a large building lived underneath the penthouse and noticed something dripping through the ceiling.
Oh, no.
Well, it didn't smell real good, so they had reported it. Long story short, they entered the penthouse. It was quite an eccentric family lived up there. Older gentleman, his wife, and a daughter. He apparently had passed away. He wanted to be sent to Colorado to his son to be buried in Colorado. Apparently that was his dream. They wrapped him up in bubble wrap, duct taped him up, put him in a box, and never made it to the post office.
Okay, listen, you're not eccentric at that point. You're goddamn insane.
So what did they left him there? They left?
Well, no, they were still living there. You hear those hoarding things, too. The house smells so bad. Apparently, they just didn't notice it anymore.
And he was dripping through the ceiling.
He had liquefied in the box. And so it was my friend's job as the medical examiner to determine the cause of death. Said it was quite the job cutting through the duct tape and all that. And the smell was so horrific that dumped all her clothes right there at work and said it was probably about 2 weeks before she finally got that smell off of her.
Oh.
And every time she stepped into an elevator, she said she swore to God everybody was looking at her like, what?
Yeah, because you smell like a dead person.
Man, yeah. I mean,
a liquid dead person. So they had a liquid daddy.
It's like essential oils, but of death.
What did she tell you? What she thinks ended up being the cause of death? Because I assume by the time someone's turned to liquid, it's a little harder to figure it out.
Yeah, I think at that point it was just going through the motions. That's just something they have to do. Apparently, he died of a heart attack in the home or something.
Yeah,
But,
okay. I gotta understand being wrapped in bubble wrap. That might be fun. Like at the funeral, everybody can come up and just pop you like tat.
Until they realize it's not you. Oh, damn.
Uh-oh. What was the one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA. Stay tuned. We've got a very special announcement on the way concerning Men's Room Red Festival and more your calls coming up. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill.
Coming up, a very special announcement concerning Men's Room Red Festival.
Say what?
Brian Thorpe will be in the house. He's got all the details on this year's Men's Room Red Festival. We'll do that right after emails on our question. What was the one smell that you will never forget? A mysterious smell is plaguing the western communities down in Florida. And the smell basically goes, they say, from Belglade south to suburban Delray Beach, then all the way to North Lake Boulevard at the acreage. Theories have ranged from illegal manure dumping. They're thinking it might be rotting crops. They also believe that because of the lack of rain that they've had, maybe that you're getting the dried up, decaying vegetation at the bottom of canals that are being exposed. But rotting vegetation would explain the smell for only 1 or 2 or 3 days. They basically say they get this maybe once or twice a year, but this is nothing like that they have ever experienced before. I've never seen it so long. It's never been this widespread, and it's never lasted more than a day or two. A lot of people think it just might be muck from the Everglades.
What exactly is muck?
They say it's a combo of sour milk and garbage is the smell. Can't sit outside on a great night, wrote Matthew McCarty. It's not horse manure stench. I smell that every day. This is like 1,000 times more potent, like dog waste chemical smell. Either way, they still don't know what is going on down there. They think it might even be a gas leak, but it wasn't a gas leak. They don't know where the smell is coming from.
There's a very unique smell to like swamps and kind of sit in water.
Mm-hmm. And they just smell swampy, man.
Yeah.
And when I say things like muck, that tells you everything you need to know. We got a few comments here. Let's see. The smell of someone who has gastrointestinal bleed. It's one of the worst things I've ever smelled. It's basically poop and blood mixed together.
Oh.
Okay. The smell I cannot forget, because it happens to this day, is when I happen to walk into the bathroom after my teenage daughter has used it. It is so bad that I've thought about calling her school cafeteria and ask them what the hell they're feeding her. I feel that I would need to pull aside any roommates, boyfriends in the future, and strongly suggest investing in a good bathroom vent fan.
Might be something wrong with her stomach.
Yeah, your daughter got a nasty butt.
What was the one thing that, one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA.
I mean, like, my dad has a unique smell when he uses the bathroom in your home.
Is it consistent?
Consistently bad.
Is it the same smell all the time?
It's like my grandmother, man, God bless her, God, it was, just like you, growing up, Miles, they had the one bathroom house, that kind of thing. But, like, if you had to pee, and she's already in there, you had to wait the 20 minutes it takes for her to do whatever it is she did. But you walked in, man, and it was just thick. Like, when you walked in there, it was almost like walking into a humid room. Mm-hmm. Like, things started moving in slow motion.
Beached lettuce up on the side of the bowl, nothing ever solid.
It was awful, man. It was awful every time, but it smelled exactly the same every
just like
time.
Soupy poop.
That's the worst with that lettuce.
With the beach lettuce?
Yeah.
Stop eating shredded lettuce. If you're not going to don't eat it, man, because it is so disturbing to walk up to a toilet and like, please tell me you were eating a sandwich over the toilet.
Don't leave the lettuce up on there. Like, get the lettuce down into the pool so it can get out.
Yeah.
What was the one smell that you'll never forget? 844-999-OLA.
Hello, Dominic. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hola. Hey.
So it's funny though. Someone just texted in about a gastrointestinal bleed. That's actually the one that jumped out at me.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Was it you or somebody you know?
So it was. I work in like emergency medical services. So we go on a lot of calls for medical emergencies, obviously. And the first time I ever smelled a lower gastrointestinal bleed is specifically what it is. And yeah, it's when you have a bleed in like your stomach or lower, and it gets all digested, just like food and everything. And it comes comes out looking like coffee grounds or
Does
black
it come
powder.
out? It comes out when you use the bathroom, right?
Well, yeah, but it comes out when you don't use the bathroom either. It just kind of comes out. When
so it's just coming out all the time. It's always leaking, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah. It's real involuntary. A lot of people just kind of lose control over their bowels, and it just goes all over.
To lose control. Is this the point in time where you maybe need a bag and get rid of all the lower gear? Is that the level of problem this is?
Yeah, if it's bad enough, you definitely have to, gown up, as they say, or put on the personal protective equipment, and you put the little booties over your shoes and a gown and definitely a mask and stuff. And a lot of people put like Vaseline on the inside of their mask.
This is quite
it's bad.
Damn.
Yeah, the first time I smelled it, as soon as we got in the house, I was looking for an excuse to get outside.
I can't blame you.
Hola! The shenanigans continue on the Men's Room Radio Network.